welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15. I'll be giving you 3 of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get into them, I quickly just want to review our only selection of the day, which ran at Chelmsford in the 340. It was my nap, and that was Puffin Island for Grace McEntee and Henry Spiller. In the end, we were able to get a little bit of a profit out of it, as we did put it up each way at 13-2 last night, and ran on into 3rd place quite eye-catchingly in the end, and probably needs to go further up in trip, to be honest with you. Now, to be honest, I don't know what to make of the betting market before the race. There was a massive drift on the horse for the most of the day, actually. After I put it up, I was surprised to see the market really come for it, and it was finding out for favouritism at one point. But if you were watching the race around about 10-15 minutes before the off, it really did drift out to a final SP of 10-1. Fair play if some of you were able to get the 10-1 there. It means obviously you got more profit if you backed it each way. But yeah, a bit of a strange one there. But yeah, the way it performed, it didn't look like a 10-1 shot to me. But yeah, who knows why it drifted out so much. But yeah, that was our only tip of the day, and it means we just come out with a small profit. Like I said in yesterday's video, I didn't really fancy too much today, but I'll take that. You know, you're not going to have loads of bets every day. But yeah, not a bad day for us on the whole. So yeah, that's how today's tip went. We've got 3 selections for tomorrow's racing. Now, I actually did give a little bit of a tease on my Twitter feed earlier that we'll be going to France tomorrow for one of my selections. And that's right, we're going to be going to the 120 at Cagnes-Sur-Mer, which is down in the southeast of France, near Nice. One of those tracks I want to go and visit maybe at this time of year. They always have a lot of good racing down there. It looks lovely, you know, and it's one of those that I want to go and visit and tick off the bucket list. We actually saw Rabiha last year win on her debut at Cagnes-Sur-Mer, and she went on to compete in the top group races. So yeah, there can be some nice horses down there in the south of France, and it's always a little meeting. They normally go on for a couple of weeks down there at Cagnes-Sur-Mer, you know, have a bit of a winter carnival. It's always a meeting that I always keep my eye on, and I always have a few bets over there now and again, and I think I found one tomorrow at a little bit of a price, and it's going to be in a claiming race tomorrow in the Olivier claiming stakes. Now, I think I found one here, and I think it should personally be favourite, and that's a horse called Exclusive Baio for Simon Planck, claiming a handy £8, and he's riding for the Maestro trainer, that is Jean-Claude Rouget, who, if you're not familiar with French racing, I would have thought a lot of you would have heard of him. Obviously, top French trainers, always seen normally second behind Andre Fabre, and Jean-Claude Rouget's stable been going not too badly in the last couple of weeks. They've been operating at a 20% strike rate, and they were really unlucky today. They had 2 second places at Cagnes-Sur-Mer from 2 runners. I actually backed one of them, Lady Australia, who looked like she was going to hose up, but just got chinned on the line. But yeah, Jean-Claude Rouget's horses have been running quite well of late, and this Simon Planck, he is quite an inexperienced rider, and he's only had a handful of starts for Jean-Claude Rouget. I think he's just joined his stable, but he seems to be getting a few opportunities, and he's been riding quite well for him. He's made the frame on some of his starts and got a win. He's 1 from 4 for Jean-Claude Rouget. And in this race tomorrow, I think he's got a really good chance. Now, if you're not familiar with the French system, a claiming race is often a lower graded race. Handicaps sometimes are actually lower than claiming stakes races. It's a bit odd how the system works out there. It's a bit different to the UK system, but normally looking at class angles is always a really good way, I find, in claiming races. And this horse, Exclusive Baio, is going to be making his first ever start in a claimer tomorrow. He's previously competed in maidens, stakes races and conditions races, and the last time we saw him, he actually ran in a conditions race. He hasn't run for nearly 80 days, but I think coming into this grade of race tomorrow, he's got quite a good chance. Now, he's going to be carrying his race weight. It's meant to be 9 stone 2, but with Simon Planck aboard, he's going to be getting £8 off that weight, and his big rival in the market is Miss Believe for Axel Nico and Johnny Gavin. Now, Axel Nico, I remember I was doing quite a lot of French tips back in May when it was the only thing we really had to keep us entertained. She was a jockey that really caught my eye, actually. I remember putting her up quite a few times, and I remember we backed her one day where she produced us a 16-1 winner. Now, she's going to be on Miss Believe tomorrow, who's the current favourite for this race, but I don't think that horse brings in a particularly strong level of form, and I think our boy if I can remember his name, Exclusive Baio, has got a good chance in this race tomorrow and bring some better form to the table. And Jean-Claude Rouget as well has been doing quite well in the claiming races. So I think there's a lot to like about him. You can currently back this horse at the time of recording with Bet365. They're the only bookmaker that got prices up at the moment. But I think 7-2, if you can still get that price, I think that's a good value bet there. And I think arguably could be nearly favourite when we come post time tomorrow. I've seen Miss Believe, I think, is round about a 5-4 shot opening prices. I think that's quite a short price for that one, and we're going to be miles better off the weights. If they didn't have any claimers on board, there would be £5 between them, so that's definitely going to help our cause there. And also as well, got a good draw tomorrow coming out of Stall 4, which is not a bad track at Cagnes-Sur-Mer. It's very sharp turning track, and you always, in my opinion, want to be towards the inside if you can. Not right on the inside, but Stall 4, nice towards the inside rail is going to help. So yeah, a lot to like about this horse's chances tomorrow, and I think it will take all the beating in the 120 at Cagnes-Sur-Mer. I know some of you probably not even going to have listened to any of that and aren't at all interested in French racing, but I just thought it was one that stood out for me, and I might still go back to France from time to time and put up the odd selection from if I fancy it. But yeah, that's going to be my next best of the day tomorrow. We then go to the 350 at Down Royal with a horse called Envoi Pierji. Now, I've put this horse up a couple of times recently, and last time I put it up, it was actually a non-runner. It was meant to be running, I think it was in a ladies race when Aine O'Connor was booked for the ride, but became a non-runner. I'm not sure if it was the time when J.P. McManus's daughter-in-law tragically died, and then they didn't have any runners. I think it was around about that time period. It was a few weeks ago. But Envoi Pierji is a horse that I've been meaning to back the last few times, or the last couple of times it's had entries, and it hasn't been running. It's been withdrawn on its last couple of starts. But the reason I want to back it is because last time out at Fairy House, it had a really eye-catching ride when it stayed on really strongly over 2.5 miles, suggesting that this thing wants a trip and looks very well handicapped off a mark of 109. Trained by Liz Doyle and Mark Welsh, the retained rider over in Ireland for JP McManus's, but for the ride tomorrow. Now, if you go back through this horse's form, it has been a little bit patchy, but when he was in his point-to-point days over 3 miles, he was bumping into the likes of Chantry House, who he knows is a really smart horse for Nicky Henderson. He's got some smart form, and even though, yes, there are some nice horses in this race, and it's one of the most competitive races of the day at Down Royal tomorrow, I think off a mark of 109, over fences, over staying trips, Envoi Pierji has got a lot of potential. Now, I'm only going to recommend a 0.5 win bet tomorrow, but I'm going to recommend it to win on the nose. Obviously, it's a big field competitive handicap, but it's just a horse that I couldn't not put up. You know, I've been putting him up the last few times. He's been a horse that I've been meaning to back, but obviously he's been withdrawn on his last couple of entries. But Envoi Pierji, I just think he is really well handicapped off a mark of 109, and he's going to be my extra tip of the day. Going to recommend a 0.5 win bet on him. Now we then go to the 410 at Wolverhampton, and this is where my nap's going to be tomorrow. It's a horse called Horn of Plenty in the 410 at Wolves, and it's trained by Andrew Bolden and David Probert is booked for the ride. Now at the current time of recording, you can back this horse at 7-2, and I'm going to recommend a 1-point win only bet. Now I think returning to Wolverhampton tomorrow will really suit this horse. The only time it's ever won was over the course and distance, so that's a massive tick in the box. But I thought off a mark of 79 is potentially still very well handicapped. Now if you go back on this horse's most recent runs, has arguably been really unlucky the last twice. If you go back and watch the race replay at Lingfield, I'd urge anyone to go back and watch it. This horse was badly hampered about 2 or 3 times, and if it got a clear run, you'd like to think it would have stayed on and would have fought it out for the win, and was quite a big price in that day, to be fair. But this horse, yeah, was really unlucky last time, and that race wasn't a bad race for the grade. You had Oslo in there for Michael Appleby, who was previously with Sir Michael Stout. He's a rated 85. He ran a good race the other day to finish second, so the form there doesn't look too bad. And I just thought over this trip, I think, and the return to this track, there could be a lot to like about the chances of Horn and Plenty. Andrew Bolden's team haven't been going too badly as well. And I think if you look at the rest of the field, Awesome Moore, I think probably could do slightly further. Might just find this trip on the sharp side for him. You've got My Girl Maggie as well, who I put up as a winning nap earlier this month. but again, I'm a little bit concerned in here for her, and I think she might be a little bit high in the weights now, and we're going to be getting quite a few pounds from that horse. And like I said, off a mark of 79, I think Horn of Plenty is really well handicapped. It's got lovely pedigree by Golden Horn, who I think is a sire that when you start breaking down, he's only been a sire for a couple of years, obviously. He was a great horse a few years ago for John Gosden, but if you look at his progeny, they seem to be doing better with age and when they go up in trip. And also as well, it's out of the Galileo mare, so got a lovely, lovely pedigree. And I just think off a mark of 79, this horse still might have a few pounds to play up her rating, and she's returning as well to a track she's done really well at in the past. And if she can get the breaks tomorrow, I think at 7-2, I think this horse should be near favourite in the betting, and I would be against Autumn and My Girl Maggie for the reasons I just said. So yeah, that's going to be my naff of the day tomorrow, and I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bet there. So quick 3 tips then for tomorrow, just summing them up. In the 120 at Cagnes-Sur-Mer, we go with exclusive Baio, 7-2, 1-point win bet. In the 350 at Down Royal, we go with Envoi Pierji, 4-1, 0.5 win only bet. That's the extra tip. And then in the 410 at Wolverhampton is the nap of the day, Horn of Plenty, 7-2, 1-point win bet. So they're the 3 tips for tomorrow's racing. If you haven't done so already and you're enjoying these videos, please remember to subscribe and also as well hit the thumbs up button. I really appreciate all the support you give me. If you want to follow me on Twitter, that's the best place to do so, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to know a little bit more about myself, my website address is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.